Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Jumping on, quickly, briefly, hopefully, to talk to you all about the Book of Excuses. Today is December 1st, and I know people are already, getting in their head, it was a little close, getting in their head what they're going to make their New Year's resolutions for. But what I encourage you all to do is stop writing those book of excuses, and it's still time in 2016 to turn this thing around, to get things right, to focus on God, to spend more time with God, to get your relationship back right with God. It's still time to turn that thing around. You don't have to wait till 2017 to get that thing right. You still have time to do that now, today, like right now. No more book of excuses. Stop writing those chapters. Stop editing them and coming up with, when I get this done, then I'll do this. Stop writing this book of excuses and write a book of, I'm going to press. I'm going to keep pressing. Nothing's going to stop me from getting to God. Nothing's going to stop me from doing what God has told me to do. Nothing's going to stop me from walking in what it is that God has told me to do. Now, I'm going to give you some examples, and then maybe the video will be over. So with Mary, we all know that Mary was, a virgin, the Virgin Mary, who bore Jesus. The thing about it is this: when Mary met the angel, she was a little doubtful. She had a couple questions, but as she started listening to the angel and what he was saying to her, and knowing the promises of God, and that God never goes back on his word, she rested assured in that, and she walked in what it was that God had called her to do, which is carry Jesus. We continue to come up with excuses of why we can't do what God has called us to do, or why we're not doing what God has placed in us to do. We come up with more excuses, but then we don't come up with the reasons why we need to do it. One of the reasons why we need to do it is because God told us to. The other reason why we need to do it is because it's going to encourage somebody else. So it's really time out, men and women of God, for us to stop living off of these book of excuses and stating that, well, when I get this right, then I'll do this. We're never going to be right on this side. So that is no longer an excuse. I don't want to hear it no more. We're never going to be right on this side. As long as we're here, we're never going to be right. As long as we have flesh on us, we're never going to be right, because the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. So now it's time for us to make our spirit, our willing spirit, and our flesh match, and stop writing these book of excuses, men and women of God. There's nothing too hard for God, so why do we make it hard for ourselves? Just something to think about. Until next video, be blessed. Happy Thursday.